object of TaxiChronicles is to allow real riders with real stories share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have a special brother in the house. He specialises in oil and gas, and he's sharing the gift, giving other people's knowledges and allowing them to make more than 10k a month. So if you're tired of being broke and you can't pay your energy bill, you might want to listen to what he has to say. Nice to have you here today.
How you doing, brother? You alright?
So what's your podcast, what's your YouTube channel called?
Well, it's not actually on YouTube, it's actually on Facebook.
Okay.
So they can just find me. It's actually my personal one. So it's Steph R. Nyahore, my surname, Gnahore.
Okay, that's good. So where does your background come from? Why oil or gas, and why did you decide Facebook?
Well, my background, so I've got about 8 years experience in the oil and gas industry as a recruiter, mainly working with the likes of Total, BP, ExxonMobil and other subcontractors. And why did I decide to do it on Facebook? Basically what happened is, after I left the industry, I basically wanted to do something different, mostly working for myself. And then I just thought, why would I not want to help people to basically be able to have the skills to always find a job without having to rely on recruitment agency or struggle out there? And I targeted oil and gas industry. And why did I do Facebook? Simply because Facebook, I feel, is a bit of a more trusted platform in a way that, you know, most people that are on Facebook tend to be a little bit older compared to the other platforms. And, you know, on Facebook, you tend to leave a bit of your history behind, I would say. So when people go on it, they don't see the first picture of you on a yacht or in a business plane. They can kind of see your pictures from when you was maybe in high school or college or uni. You know, they can see some of your embarrassing pictures, and it just builds that sense of trustability, I would say.
Okay, so you really thought about it.
Yeah, you got to, man. Can't just go out there like that.
Why did you get into recruitment?
Do you know, it was actually, it was a bit by coincidence. It was around 2009 and 2010. I was just made redundant because of the recession at the time. I was working in travel industry. Yeah, so literally what happened is the company that was next door to the company that I was basically being let go of was the company that introduced me to the oil and gas industry. And
you were in recruitment before the oil and gas?
I was not in recruitment before that. That was basically my first introduction to it. And the only reason they thought of me is because that company was French. I'm originally from France.
Okay.
And then they thought I'd be a great person to add to the team. And I was very frank with them. I said, look, I don't know nothing about recruitment, and I know even less about the oil and gas industry. And he said, listen, you know how to sell, you know how to talk. That's all you need to do. You just need to know how to sell people and their skills. And that's how I got started.
So, wow.
Yeah.
That's one of the few French words I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. We got a bit of a background on you. So you came to live in England then?
Well, I actually came when I was very young. Came with my family in 97 when I was about 12.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been there ever since. I mean, I've been back and forth between London and Paris, but yeah, I've been here for a while.
That's good. You ever thought about going back to live in Paris?
I have a couple of times, and nah, I wouldn't want to go back.
Okay, that's interesting. So what have you learned that you wish you knew when you had started in this industry?
Probably say that I didn't know at the time how much bigger I could have been. I could have ventured out, basically. Before, I was very focused just on the recruitment side, rather than I could have just basically focused on so many different aspects.
So, alright. So when you say bigger, you could have. Was it a case like where it's very common in this country that people focus on working for somebody rather than working for themselves, and you realise you could have been bigger if you worked for yourself earlier. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I kind of mean, because before, I mean, I always wanted to work for myself, but then it's a difference between wanting to work and actually doing it. And at the time, I think that I was thinking about it a lot and thinking about the perfect plan, when realistically, if all that time I would have been thinking of doing it by myself, then I would have made all the mistakes that needed to be made, and I would have been I would have been in the situation that I am in now a lot earlier.
Okay. So I see you had your vlogging equipment, your tripod and various other stuff. What can people expect when they go on your channel? What are you offering them? What problems are you solving?
So what I basically do is I bring people within the industry, within the oil and gas industry, even people that are outside of the industry, just some value related on how they can use their knowledge, or they can use their network to actually increase their net worth. So something very simple could be, whenever you're looking for new opportunities, people always seek outside of their own circle, when realistically you should be reactivating the current network that you have. You've got, no matter what you've done in your life, you've got a good 30 to maybe 40 years if you're older of connection with people. Now, some of those connections, you might have turned them off for a good 10, 20 years, but you don't know where these people are at now. They might be able to open the door for you somewhere. Instead of going and trying to recreate new relationships, why don't you just rekindle relationship that you've already established? So that's some of the stuff that I try to bring to people.
You spoke earlier, before we started the episode, about the 10K a month. Explain, how does that work?
Oh, it's very simple. Based on your situation, what I do is I provide a couple of strategies, I would say. I call them recruiting strategies, where I basically teach you how to be self-dependent and self-reliant, where with those skills you're able to attract bigger companies and you're able to attract headhunters towards you, rather than you sending CVs to just random jobs online hoping that they come back to you. When you follow the strategies that I basically teach, it will almost be like reverse engineering. The opportunities will come to you.
Okay. It's funny because when you said oil and gas, I automatically thought you were showing people how to deal with the stock market or something like that. Yeah, things like that. But you're talking from the angle as in self-improvement, from what I understand, and making yourself more sexy
in a way.
Corporations and various other things.
Yeah, so let's say for example that you're already an engineer. Let's say you're earning about £4,000 a month, let's say that. Now you're trying to get to the next level, but you just don't know how to get to the next level. Now I'm going to teach you recruiting strategies on how you can go from 4,000 to 10,000. And all that depends on is, first of all, on the way that you present yourself, on the way that you're branding yourself also online. Because what you really want to do is you want to attract attention towards you for the right reasons.
For LinkedIn and things like that.
Such as LinkedIn, such as Facebook. Because one of the things that people don't realize is that everything you're putting online, recruiters actually look at that.
Yeah.
So if you're basically trying to get a job, most recruiters, I would say 90% of recruiters, will definitely Google your name and then go on your social media just to see anything that gives them a glimpse of your character. So if you've got a picture where you're getting drunk on a Wednesday night, trust me, they can see that.
Yeah. But they won't know it's Wednesday.
Well,
no, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. If there's a younger person who wanted to get into the industry, or what you're doing in recruiting, what would be your advice to them?
In recruiting?
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to get into recruitment, basically learn the industry really quickly, make some contacts, and then go at it by yourself. Having a company above you it's really just there as a stepping stone, but most of these recruitment companies are kind of ruthless. They pay you a basic and then you got to make your money on top. And it doesn't matter if you've made $1 million for them. If you're having a bad month, they can get rid of you.
Okay, so you're only as good as your last job.
Exactly.
It sounds like commercial construction. What does the future hold for you?
The future holds for me quite a lot. In terms of, I'm looking at different business avenues. I mean, you talked about investment. That's something that I'm quietly studying in terms of, how to properly read the stock market, how to properly read a company, a financial report in order to invest in it. Like, the future is quite bright. But it's not just the money aspect as well. There is an aspect of quality time as well, and really understanding that the value of life. And, we're all here chasing the pound, but we also got to be very humble that if tomorrow there's a war, that pound note means nothing. So that's why I try to keep that sense of humbleness.
Give me a typical day of what it's like in your shoes, being a vlogger.
Well, what I try to do is I try to create content in advance, so it saves me time. And it gives me time to actually organize myself, and actually really gives me the time to do the right research to be able to provide a valuable piece of content. You talked about what have I learned. Obviously, consistency. If you provide one piece of content every day for the next year, I'm telling you, people's perception automatically changes. And then they look at you as a voice of leadership. No matter what you do, you could be a dog trainer, you could be teaching people how to walk, how to run, how to scream. I'm telling you, if you do that consistently for a year, people start watching and people start following and people start believing. That's what I learned.
Have you found you had to invest in a lot of equipment?
No, you don't need to invest in a lot of equipment. That's one of the first things that I realized, that you don't need to invest in a lot of equipment, because people, I would say the audience don't really need to. I mean, the audience is a lot smarter than people think. People always think that you need it to be crystal clear and everything needs to be, tip top, like crystal clear. I know I'm repeating myself again, but sometimes you just need to put out valuable content. That's all they care about. They don't care if the video is in HD or not. If they can get something out of it, they will be loyal fans.
Would you say that depends on the demographics you're appealing to?
I don't think it depends on any demographic, to be honest with you. As long as you're providing a good value that solves people's problems, people will come and people will follow you and people will refer you. That's the one thing that I've realized, is as long as you provide valuable content for free, people will follow you, and people. Sometimes I've even seen people give you money just because they enjoy what you're doing.
If you could do it all again,
yeah,
what would you do differently?
If I could do it all again, I probably would have started that a lot earlier. Somebody did tell me to do something that I'm doing right now a good 7 years ago, but I didn't have the confidence back then to actually go ahead with it. But for me personally, I mean, I've got the ability to do what I'm doing anywhere in the country. Like tomorrow I'm traveling to West Africa and I'm going to be vlogging from over there. And, I believe that's the future of everyone. Realistically, is not being able, I mean, it depends. Obviously, people have different type of jobs, but if you have the ability to be in another country and really just be a digital nomad, why not? Yeah, I'm going to Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast.
It's right next to Ghana.
Yeah, French speaking.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that where you're from?
That's exactly where I'm from. Yeah, I got a big following in Africa. Not necessarily in West Africa. I've got mostly in Northern Africa, in Egypt.
Oh, it makes sense. They've got oil and gas.
That's it.
Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, I'm slowly growing anyway, and that's something. It's long-term project. I know I'm gonna get different type of followings, and the market's gonna be opening in different areas. So I'm not really fussed, because right now I'm just focused on the quality, making sure that I'm providing good content for anybody that's listening to me.
Yeah, that's true. It's all that consistency. If you keep it up, then you'll eventually get there.
So in terms of core value, what I do is I stick to quality. So I don't promise you the world if I can't do it. And I'm very, very honest with my analysis when I talk to any oil and gas consultant. So that means if somebody's coming and they ain't got no job and they think that by talking to me they're going to be earning 150k a year, like, I tell them the truth. I tell them the steps that they need to take, because I strongly believe in reputation. If I scam one person, that's a short-term solution, but it gives me a long-term headache. So I'd rather just be completely honest, even if that means I can't serve everyone. Doesn't matter. As long as I do my job right, you know, it will pay in the long run.
Yeah. You've been a great guest. What's the gift/impact you want to have on the world?
I don't know. That's still something that's unanswered, I guess. Obviously, I want to help people, but, you know, I don't know.
But that's it then, isn't it? If you want to help people, that's the gift that you want to give the world.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay then, well, thanks a lot for that. And we wish you well.
Thank you.
And to the listeners out there, don't forget to check out our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where we interview people who've invested in Africa from around the world and hear their experience. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.